Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another one of my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson, and I will be your guide for today. Today, we are going to do some channeling through and see what my guides have to say for really the month of July, and also the energies present at the moment and how we can actually ride them. Yeah, so they're just to start off with, they were like explaining to me this morning about our soul being grounded more, and they were giving me more understanding of that. And it was to do with as we find self-love, as we find ourselves, that we love ourselves even more, that we will end up, that literally is us grounding our souls. And they were telling me that love is not the feeble, weak thing that we were taught, especially those that are in, like, I'm 55, so like anyone around my age, and that we were taught that love was pretty feeble and weak, and it's a big hard world out there, and we've got to harden up and all that sort of stuff. And but true love, true essence of love, isn't something to do with us trying to people please and make sure that everyone else is okay, and we love you so much that we want everything to be peaceful, that everything else is great. True love is actually, it starts from within, and it is a reflection out. So you could graspingly try to love everything as well, and that isn't real love. That is a detriment to yourself and your soul and who you are. So it's actually interesting. They were saying it's like an equal thing, where the true essence of love comes from an inner knowing, and then it reflects out. And then you don't want to be around anyone that's going to treat you bad. You don't want to be around anything anymore. Like, the more that you start to love yourself, the more that you're grounding your soul doesn't want to be around those times or those people or subjects or whatever that make you feel bad. And so love is actually that strong and that powerful that it will always shift you into more love. And then you don't want it. You just have these irky feelings where you don't want to be present around people that are victim. You don't want to be present around people that are perpetrators, and all of that sort of stuff. So it's actually, if the true value of love is very strong. It's a very strong thing. And I think we need to get a different bearing on it, and understanding that true love doesn't put up with crap. But it doesn't lash out either. Love is a power within itself, a force that we just say no to those things that come to us that don't resonate with it. And we either move on or we stand our ground and just keep saying no. But that's the power of love, rather than I really wish that my family would love each other, and I'm going to do everything today for them, and hope that they do the same back for me, or it doesn't matter if they walk all over me. That's not the true essence of love. That's literally detriment to yourself, like I said before. So they were bringing that up as a subject. Just see if there's anything more that's probably going to come through. Hey, Joe, good to see you. Good morning. Yeah. Love also moves towards your authentic self. It moves towards what you really want and desire. All of this that I'm saying, you'll go, of course. But do we do it? Do you really, truly, in every moment do it? There's a difference. Do you actually wake up in the morning and say to yourself, Wow, I love who I am so much. I am going to, do exactly what I need to do for today, and I'm not going to follow the the plot that's been laid out for me. At least I'm going to tweak it to certain things that resonate more in line with how much with the love within myself. Um, okay, yeah. So they're saying you when you're caught in something that's already going in a momentum towards um, this is how reality is. When you're caught in that, it's better to. It's like they're showing me a river, and you're stuck in the middle of this river, and you're flowing with this river that you know is going to go to a waterfall, and you're just going to end up plunging to your death. It's going to go somewhere pretty yucky, or smashing into a boulder or something like that. And they're showing me that to get out of that, do slow increments towards your goals every day that align with your soul, that align with the true value or the authentic self, and trust that love, being the higher vibration, will be the one that lifts you, that moves you over quicker. Um, it's interesting because the soul is love. Soul is residing in a much higher frequency. This reality is in a denser, fear-based, victimized perpetrator, slow-moving, heavy reality. And so they're showing me that the more that you come into love in who you are, the more your soul will want to show you, or through your feelings, through your passions, through your desires, you will start to feel this movement towards exactly what you love. But if you just jump straight from there and onto the side, you'll probably or feeling like you should be able to, you'll probably end up getting exhausted really quickly, and then you'll feel like you're taken with that movement faster. It's interesting how they're showing me in my mind. But at the least, take these smaller increments if you feel that you can't. Because if you truly aligned with your soul completely straight off, you would be above the water and you would be able to fly to the side. But it's not necessarily what the logical brain could handle at this moment. So to take small incremental steps towards is at least going to get you to the side where you really want to go and move on to a different path than following the same pattern. If everybody started doing this, like had compassion for themselves and had compassion for the world as an outer reflection of their true value of themselves, then this whole world would change, because everyone would start to slowly step into, or even quickly step into, the jobs that they really love, the people that they really want to be around, and they won't worry about being alone, because they will know that they are part of a bigger web of consciousness. So they won't have that whole, oh my God, yearning or graspingness to be alone. Graspingness is something that is coming from a lack of, and many of us do it, and it's very subtle. It can literally take a hold of your mind, and you don't even realize that you're doing it sometimes, because that's literally how you've been taught to create your reality, is to move the outside and go be graspy at it. Everybody does it because it's literally in humanity's consciousness to survive. And yet the soul never needs to be sitting in a place of survival, because it is internal. It just is a frequency that we are true to ourselves, wanting to go on a journey. And so it doesn't have the same, it will never grasp for anything. It'll never, and it would easily move around any sort of interruptions, boulders. It doesn't have a fear of oh my God, if I do this, what is everyone going to say? It doesn't have those sort of it doesn't even reside in that at all. When we come to truly bringing through our soul and loving who we are just us standing extremely strong and clear, with clarity of our mind as well. And it's like it reminds me when I found the gold bracelet, and they took me on this 2-year journey of a self-love journey, really. And then at the end of it, I was writing poetry, and I was doing more artwork, more poetry, more than I have ever done before. And I wasn't worried about what anyone else thought about it. I just did it because I really wanted to, because it's what my soul was yearning to do. And in the poems that I wrote, there was all these messages that were coming through, and I just loved doing them. So I wrote this valuable poem, and I wanted my mum to read it. And it was all about facing off with the dragon and realizing that the dragon was love as well. That the dragon was like going into this village, and everyone was scared of it, and they were so scared of it that they started to, they were going to shoot an arrow at it. And this little girl walks up to the dragon and sees in his eyes that he's actually love as well. And Mum read it, and she started crying. And then my mum never cried. My mum was a very storm, so she would never cry, but she started to weep. And I said to her, because I was in this love frequency for myself. Usually in the old days or before that, I would have gone, oh my God, I've hurt my mom, I feel so bad. And, I've never seen her cry like this. And oh my God, I would have felt so bad, and gone into this victimized. Instead, though, because I was in this love frequency, I turned to her and I said, that's so cool. And I was still in this love frequency. And she's like, huh? And I'm like, I invoked an emotion from you through my poem. Do you know how powerful that poem is? That's so cool. And she's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, wow, see? And it lifted everyone into a different perception. Instead of me feeling victim, Mum feeling victim, it was just, it just shifted everything. So when we're in this love vibration, everything, because of our perception, has shifted and changed, and we see more value in things that we do, and we don't unsupport ourselves. We don't disempower ourselves through somebody else not agreeing with it. We support and empower ourselves, even though, and that in itself leads us to them to seeing a different perspective as well, and not falling victim as well. And then we all end up raising each other's vibrations. I really love what they're bringing through at the moment. If you haven't seen it, I did a really cool quick channel message yesterday as well, because I was driving in my car, and they're giving me this understanding of patience, and how to manifest fast, and why we have this impatient feeling. Impatience doesn't exist in the soul's resonance either, because the soul can manifest, and just like that, that's where magic comes from. That's where all the wizards and the witches and all those sort of things and the fairy tales, they could just like imagine something and manifest it, but they were in alignment with that being the true value that gave them a reflection of the self-love that they desired, that object in that moment. And the message was talking about, anyway, you'll have to go watch it, but I will bring up this with it, which I didn't bring up much in that message, is we do have this impatience of this world. And a lot of the light workers, they told me this a wee while ago, so I'm just remembering what they told me. A lot of the light workers, the ones that come from higher benevolence, that their souls just going straight down here to help guide, can sometimes get caught in this impatient, anxious feeling, because they're not used to the slower vibration that is moving in a very, very strong way through, like the material world is a slower vibration. And they likened it to a train going, really a heavy train moving through our life. And so because our soul's not used to it, and if we've come from those higher frequencies straight into this body, or only had a couple of experiences in human form, then in this lower, denser reality, we find ourselves impatient. And when we're impatient, we end up going confirming to ourselves that nothing's going to work, because we are used to things manifesting in a lot quicker way. And yeah, just to bring that up, because I didn't bring it up in the video yesterday, but it was really cool. I see what else I want to talk about. Hey, Christina and Cherie, good to see you guys. Yeah. And I also did a video too with Robert yesterday. If you want to go see that, I put it up on my my homepage. If you want to click into that. So that's from Typical Skeptical Podcast, it's called. Okay, what else have we got to bring through here? So the frequencies at the moment are literally honing in on bringing more soul, more self-love through. We've done all this shadow work, all this clearing, and they want us to just rest. They want us to take our time with this. Don't push anything. If you feel tired and you need to sleep a lot more, then sleep a lot more. Especially because you're teetering between the world that you don't want to live in and the world that you do want to live in. And we literally are moving through this world that we don't want to live in and the world that we do. And we will flip in and out of it. Sometimes we have to be, but when we are in the world that we don't want to live in, focus in on the things that are little that you love, and it keeps you still in a higher vibration. And even though you don't want to be in that job or you don't want to be in that position, if you just keep focusing in on, say, oh, I've got a beautiful window that I can look out of, or I love my desk, or I really think this uniform fits me well. It's anything that kind of just little things that make you feel good. Keep focusing on those. It keeps you in a more love vibration, and it's like those incremental steps that you are stepping out of, that eventually, if it keeps on reflecting back at you, something that isn't resonating with your soul that's coming through, eventually it will break down. You will move away, or one way or another. That will happen. It would be easier for you to take the steps as you feel into not feeling good about it, but sometimes we don't trust the process because we're scared that if we do move away from something, then we're not going to find something else quick enough, and we don't have enough faith in our outer universe to reflect our inner love because we've never done it before. So there could still be some tower moments where someone will come up to you and rah, 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 and then you end up going, I had enough, I'm out of here. That is a tower moment, because that's the universe going, it's not fitting in with this amount of love that you have for yourself anymore. It's not fitting in with your soul's desire. And so that ends up happening. And that's okay too. I mean, it is what it is. So, but try not to relive the moment that happened over and over in your head as you would have done in the past. Try to go, okay, that stepped me out of this. There's a reason for that. I'm now, okay, I don't know where I'm going. I'm kind of in this no man's land, but I'm in a position now where I can actually search for the job that I really love. But I want to keep doing that through love, and then focus in on, nature, or, okay, I've got some free time now, even though I'm a bit concerned about my money status or whatever, but at least I will like lie down on the grass and just enjoy yourself, because what will happen is that clarity or love of self will get you motivated again. All of a sudden the soul will start speaking to you, and it will go, hey, go out to the letterbox and get that paper, and then you'll go out or go onto the computer and look up Facebook right now, and then all of a sudden on the Facebook page there would be exactly what you were looking for. I've done that many times, but you have to allow the message to come through, so they need you to relax and not be reliving the horror of something that had happened. Obviously we're not talking about really major horror, but even they were saying to me, even in the worst situations, even if you are in the absolute dire straits situations, the true value of the soul will never die. It's just our body that dies. And so if we really truly understood that and knew that, then you could still say, hey, I'm not doing what you forced me to do, and just allow your love to emanate, and then you might speak the words that are the truth that need to come out for that person to realize the true value of themselves, and then things will shift up at least a little bit for you to be able to be free. So there's all these, it's interesting, just the value of love. We have been taught that it is of lesser value for some reason, and it is the most powerful force that can shift anything, because it gives you clarity and a straight line through to your soul, and your soul through will talk to you through feelings, and then when you follow your feelings, you will end up moving towards a better circumstance, no matter how dire straits it is. You'll say exactly the right thing, and it doesn't matter if it's something that you're saying, you might end up saying something that seems to others to be not so nice, but it's coming from love of self, and so it is still it is, and that's all that matters. And it was still needed to be said to that person to wake them up out of their low vibration. And because sometimes if you're really low, the only way to get somebody out is to take like those incremental steps again. So if you're in a victimized, depressed situation, sometimes somebody coming up to you and going, rah, 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 get out of this. I love you that much that I'm going to stand up and say, get out of this. And then all of a sudden they're like, huh, I didn't expect you to be upset with me. And you're like, well, you need to stand up for yourself. And I don't know, something like that. And then they will go, oh, someone actually cares enough to actually fight for me. And so they end up raising their vibration into something more, into on a higher incremental step. And that might make them angry to begin with, but at least it's woken them up out of depression. Depression is actually lower than anger, I think. And then anger will then go into self-determination, and then we end up finding love again for ourselves, because we're fighting all of a sudden for our life. But it's only a step towards. It's interesting, these steps towards love. So love can be disguised in something where you really seem like you're angry. But if you come from the love place of yourself when you're speaking to that person in a very assertive manner, you'll know it's coming from love, because when you walk away, you can drop it easy. It'll just fall away really quickly, and you will feel that was needed to be said. But if you are coming from a lower frequency where you're speaking and it's coming from a real strong anger then it ends up being, when you walk away, you will relive that. And, oh, I should have done this better. I should have done that better. That is losing yourself. I hope this is making sense. But it's what they're bringing through. So I'm just going to say it as it's coming through. Christina, I just experienced that today. I asked for guidance and help and understanding and immediately stumbled into an answer. It felt like it was handed to me by the universe. Yes, that's cool, isn't it? And play with it, like play with those higher vibrations, play in the energies of seeing if this will work. Okay, well, I'm not going to listen to my logical mind telling me exactly what I have to do, because otherwise the world will fall apart. I'm going to listen to what my soul really wants. What do I really feel like doing right in this moment? It's interesting too, when you let go, all of a sudden your soul might go, even though you're thinking in the opposite way of, oh, that means that I won't go to work. Your soul might turn around and go, oh, go to work. You need to go to work, because you're going to feel so happy to have the money that's needed to pay for your child's birthday. So you go to work. Yeah, it's interesting, but at least you're going to work through feeling good. You're like not going to it because you feel you have to. You're going to it because you're following your soul, um, and you're aligning yourself with a better outcome. Your soul always knows the best direction for you to take, and even if it is slowly taking you out of a position that isn't resonating with it for too long, it will dip you back in to get you out. So it's interesting what we truly feel like when we are letting go of the logical mind telling us and allowing our soul to guide us again. It doesn't always take the path that you expect, because that's logic trying to predict, and logic can't predict. It can only go from the past, project into the future. So it keeps on thinking this is the only one line linear path that we can do. Where it's not supposed to create or move you into anything. It's supposed to hold on to memory so that you can live in a story that is conducive from birth to death, that has a linear feel, but it's not supposed to create all your steps, especially if it's getting stuck and you're not in a very good position. Your imagination is supposed to come in. Your soul, it's like your soul holds all that's happened in your past that your soul has tried, and in other lives and other dimensions and other frequencies and other avatars and other bodies, and then it like will pull through things that it can use, and say, hey, why don't we try this? Why don't we try that? You've done that in a previous life. Let's have another crack at it this time. And your logical mind has to let go, because it will probably go, I'm not doing that. That's not conducive to what everyone else wants me to do. And you have to tell it to shush so that you can try something different. Yeah. Any case. Let's see what else they want to break through. Many people on this world, if you go into the higher vibrations of love, you might see, it's like you're not entangled in all the mess anymore when you get there, because you've directed your life into something that reflects you and how much you support yourself. But you sometimes become the observer of things that have happened maybe on the other side of the world, somewhere that's not in your neighborhood or something like that. And then you'll see that these things are probably happening in the world, but you'll realize that that's because there are going to be people that are still caught very deeply in the fear-based, victimized game, but it will be played out somewhere else. That's like you being the observer of it, but you're not entangled in it anymore. And it's so important for you to hold your frequency in where you are, because you're the guiding lights for them to see that someone on this planet can actually live in a love, happy frequency and have a really beautiful life. So you are holding that. So don't go dipping into, I have to go save them. You already lowered your vibration in doing that, and you can't show them a different reflection, you join them. So it is important. I mean, obviously, if someone's in your neighborhood, if you come across somebody that is needing help, you'll say the right thing because you're in a love frequency. You'll say the right thing. You'll do the right thing. You might feel at that moment you need to give them the shirt off your back. Then give it to them. It doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter, as in it's only material. But you will know the right things to do because you're coming from a love-based scenario. You're not going into their well and trying to pull them out without loving yourself, which drives you back into that again. You're coming from a perspective where you know what you're doing, you're handing them the right thing at the right time, you're saying to them the right thing at the right time. They come into your reality because they're literally asking for help, and so you're face to face with them for that moment. Everything else that is, they call it white noise, like TVs and stuff like that, of showing things that are happening on the other side of the world. It's not really in your reality. It's not in your physical reality. It's literally a program pulled over you to keep you in the, oh my God, this world is crumbling, victimized situation. That's why they tell us to switch it off, because you can't in this immediate moment help them other than holding your light, being someone that lives on this planet that is in love with everything, and obviously including yourself. And that's how we're going to shift, because the more and more of us that stay in the love frequency, that's when the more and more of us come into the love frequency, that's when we actually create love on this planet more and more. So we can't keep diving down into the fear-based game. Even if it is to so-called save someone, you won't be saving them. You will be moving your energy into their frequency and confirming to them that, yes, this is a terrible world, and that sort of thing. There's a difference. And it's subtle, but it's a difference. When you stay in the love of self, you know what to say, what to do with the right people that come into your life. When you go into the love frequencies, you feel sorry for them and you feel terrible and you feel bad about the world, and the world is really shit. And I know that, but I don't know how to get out of it. That's what happens. There's a difference. So the more of us that stay in a love vibration, the more we're bringing love into this world. That is an absolute beautiful thing to do. And it's a warrior's thing to do. It is a strength within yourself to stay there. And don't ever think less of yourself for staying in a love vibration, even though on the other side of the world or the TV's promoting that something bad's happening. Usually the TV's promoting something that it's just honed in on one small thing usually, and builds it into some big, huge thing, and everyone thinks that's what the rest of the world's like. And it's not. It's not at all. Trust your soul. Trust this love. Trust what's being grounded. It's more important. Yeah. Let's see what else comes through for us. Yeah, we want the world to be in a love vibration. So someone has to step up into it, right? And then they have to show others how to step up into it. The benevolent beings that were guiding me, they never came in and lived my life for me. They never lowered their frequency. They stayed in love. Even though when I saw them, sometimes I was in fear. Sometimes I was, oh my God, who's that? What is that? And they showed me the little, they showed me something that made me go, hang on a sec, I'm curious. They always show me a picture of humanity in a well, in the bottom of a well. And I've brought this up when I do readings with people and they're caught in this matrix. but I will share it with you now, because I do one-on-one readings as well, for everyone to connect back to their soul and their authentic self. But any case, they show me this well, and we're looking down, and that's us in a fear-based scenario, a victimized to this reality. And at the top of the well is a benevolent being, a guide. That's what I saw, what I had an experience of, because I didn't have anyone to lift me out of the fear-based scenario as in a physical person. So they would come and show themselves and give me messages and stuff, but they will always be in, and I would see it. I would be curious. I would look up, and when I looked up and was curious, another step would form. I might have been afraid, or might have been, and what the heck is that? But another step would form in front of me, because my curiosity asked the step to be formed, and then I would step up on that step, and then they would do their guiding light again, and then I would look up and go, oh, because I'm not looking down at this world anymore. I'm looking into something new, something curious. And then it would form another step and another step until I got myself out of the wow. And now that I'm out of the wow and I love who I am, I would say I'm not where they are, but I'm fairly close, then I can start shining my light more. And for others, that I can't go back down into the well. I have to just shine my light, because I'm holding a love frequency for the rest of the world. And that's what we're moving into. All of us are starting to move into that. We're grounding our soul. We're grounding our soul and more into this physical reality. And this physical reality is a new playground for the soul to play on. It's just that when it was created to begin with, there was a lot of fear and anxiety, because it's different. It's a heavier place. It's more separated, but it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful playground to play in. Anyways, so that's what I've got through at the moment. Thank you, everybody, and I will leave it here today. So that is all about love, and yeah. So I have got something coming up with Natalie that I'm going to be recording soon. Actually, straight after this, we'll see what happens with that. And it's going to be Q&A. So she's going to be asking me my guides questions, and I'm going to be pulling through the answers. Sometimes I need that question answer thing to happen for it to come through even stronger. I don't know why, but that does help. And don't forget that everyone out there has the ability to channel, to be telepathic, to connect with their soul, to find this wisdom within themselves. I'm not the only one. I'm just a guide. That's all. Love you guys. Bye.